April 11, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. There were two times when economic data came out. One was at 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is about right here where you see this big sell, then a reversal spike up. That was the core PPI. Now, yesterday was the core CPI. And today also around 10:01, 10 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is about right here. It was the 30-year bond auction, and I guess it created maybe a positive effect of causing the market to rally. But as you can see previously, the market was already kind of grinding up. Overall, price action looked like it was kind of choppy with some swings. There wasn't really a big dominating trading range, but there were some smaller overlapping trading range. And most of the prices I think could be described as kind of fitting into these trend channels. So it's kind of a trend channel trading day. There were a lot of setups today, and a lot of them I also discounted as almost trades because in real time, I don't have the experience or the confidence yet to trust what I was reading. So I discounted them and they became almost trades. And most of the time, they looked like they worked. I took a total of 2 trades today. I was profitable on one. And then the second one over here was kind of break even because I moved my stop prematurely, which was a foolish thing to do. I was kind of, I'll get to it when I get to it, but it should have been a profitable trade. It should have been 2 green trades instead of 1 green trade and 1 scratch. So I'm going to get into the charts right now. There were quite a few setups today. Volume was pretty high and volatility was pretty high. So the pre-market, it looks like it's just kind of ranging. And I thought today might have been a range. It had one leg up, pull back, a second orange leg up. Now, the first setup I saw was actually in the pre-market, but I don't trade the pre-market. I saw it was a new high, also the high, pre-market high, made one leg down, first entry long, pull back. Now, this is about to create a second entry long. I like this setup because it's confirming this orange trend channel. It's a third confirmation, bounce, bounce. It tested the highs of this yellow up channel already by pushing up once, pull back, and this is the second leg up. Now, it could be seeing 2 pushes back down, but I saw it as maybe a continuation of this orange leg up. It's a pretty decent signal bar, and I thought it was a pretty reasonably good trade because you have enough room to scalp out before you hit the pre-market high. Looks like if you took it, yeah, you would have gotten a quick scalp out of that. Prices go open, and it starts trending down on what I think is this green channel. No particularly good setup so far. So here I do draw this touch, touch, and down. And I actually had it a little bit tighter here at one time. So the bodies touch and a little bit tighter here. So I treated this as a breakout here. But once it came up to here, I moved it back up to its original initial swing high and brought it down to about right here. Here you have a new low. It's a first entry short pullback. This is potentially a possible second entry short and a short trade. You don't have a second entry short yet. The thing that stopped me from jumping on this trade is, okay, it's confirming the green down channel by a third touch, which is good. So it's looking well to go short. Overall market bias is starting to push back down. You can think the uptrend for this yellow has played out. The uptrend for this orange probably played out when it broke once up here. And this is the second time, and now it looks like it's losing power. The thing I didn't quite like is it is a inside bar. It has a very good bearish close and it closed below the EMA. But I also thought there is nothing that says it couldn't push up once, pull back, and then make another push up. So it was more leaning toward a short and more likely to short. But I couldn't discount the fact that this is an inside bar and I wasn't 100% sure it would make another push up. So I called it a possible trade, but I just didn't feel comfortable. I wanted a lower high, maybe 1 or 2 bars after this. So if you took this trade, it looked like it worked. This would have been perfect for a lower high. The next candle kind of ticks up at the EMA or even here and rejects down. Unfortunately, it runs away, so I don't have, you get your lower high here, but it's definitely too far from the setup now. Then I also saw this as a new low. It's a first entry short pullback. This created a second entry short, but this is an almost trade. It happened really quickly. It's a rejection by the green down channel again. I mean, it didn't quite touch, but it could touch depending on how you drew it. So you can't necessarily say, well, it didn't touch definitively, but this is already pretty close enough. What made me pause was when you see this, I'm not ready to take a short trade yet because it opened here, it flashed around, then it closed even higher. So this is a very bullish push. Yes, it could hit this as a resistance, or it could start breaking out to the other side because I noticed, depending on how you drew your trend line, it bounced off of here. It could hit here, come back down, or the way I had it earlier, it didn't quite make it to the bottom. So it seemed to me that maybe the bears were losing momentum. And of course, when this opens and flushes down, there is no more trade. If you took it in engulfing, you might have had a trade, but this signal bar doesn't make me feel confident to get a trade ready and take it on the engulfing. It is nice that it ticked up once and then flushed down pretty hard. But then after the close of this trigger bar, you have a confirmed second entry short. It feels like it's too late to try to enter short now because you do have a localized bottom here that seemed to have some kind of cloud of support. So definitely I just had to let it go. Looks like it would have worked anyways if you're aggressive. It pushes and breaks through. It has a breakout here of this green down channel. It's pushing back up, creates a new low, first entry short, pull back, creates a second entry short. Here, this signal bar is telling me, okay, it's inside to this, which isn't the most encouraging, but it is pushing back down from this confirmed resistance. So this is potentially a trade. Kind of like but I called it an almost trade because the thing that I didn't quite like was it's an inside bar and it had an overshoot here. So I'm thinking it could be one leg up, one push down, push up, and then this could be the push down and a second leg up to finally break out of this, but I wasn't too sure. If this hadn't been an inside bar, ideally it closed even lower, then I probably would have maybe considered taking the trade, but this might have been good enough for other traders. Then when you see this and it closed kind of down here, I felt like the trade had already gone without me. So I just kind of had to skip these three trades, unfortunately. Prices then continue moving down. It hits this, almost looks like it's in a consolidating trading range now. It's breaking out of this green channel, and no matter how much I try to adjust the green channel, it seemed to fit the best here. So this is truly an overshoot here, as well as an overshoot here. Consolidating is holding prices here, but I don't like there's this doji here and these kind of neutral bars. So all this is a new high. First entry long, pullback, second entry long. There's a potential triple test here. It is technically a new low here. First entry short, second entry short, and here the second entry short is about to fail. It hasn't failed yet. I'm watching this green down channel. It broke out. It didn't make another overshoot here till about here, and it came down and it's holding prices here. This is a clear support area. Whether the top of the trading range is here or even lower, it doesn't matter, but you do know it potentially it's in a trading range and it's somewhere here. Now it's breaking out, not from here and down or flashing up, it's breaking out sideways to this down channel. So I'm thinking I'm more likely in a range now. Range rules are applying. And this is a decent signal bar to try to go long on. However, I don't know that the EMA necessarily is flattening out or if it's still kind of in a downtrend and it can act as a resistance. So I saw this, then I saw this, and I didn't take the trade at the time. But if I were to take this trade, I wouldn't put it one tick above here. I'd actually wait to see if this candle broke above the EMA, and then I probably would have entered at the highs or one tick above to just kind of reduce my risk for a quick 1 point scalp. And I don't quite remember how this candle formed, so I don't know if and when I would have gotten filled. But definitely if you did that and this spike already happened, you wouldn't have gotten out of the trade yet. Then here, most likely you would have gotten out of the trade, and here definitely you would have been out of the trade. So this is a possible trade, but I let it go. It hits the top, comes flushing back down. This time it doesn't reach the bottom, so that's very interesting, and it pushes very strongly out. So I'm thinking here, it could be kind of in a trading range from here to here, and it might be pushing back up potentially to test the pre-market highs. But then it reverses. There's an inside bar. It's very, very red. So I treat this as a failed breakout, and I'm thinking, okay, actually we're still in this blue, smaller range. No clean setup that I like. It breaks out the bottom. Could it be a failed breakout? Came back up and flushed down, so I'm thinking maybe not. Maybe it's a failed breakout pullback. And it looks like it was. So technically, even new high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but there's no trade, and then you have a failure. But there's no trade here because it was too far from the trading range. And ideally, if I wanted to think of going short, I'd want this candle to come up, touch the EMA, and then close low, with the next candle confirming the failure, which would have been this one, breaking below this guy. But there's no setup here. Prices then continue moving. I saw this, and at the time, when I was watching this in real-time print, I thought, okay, there's a new low here. It's a first entry short. You kind of move wrong here. Then the inside bar, and I'm thinking, could there be a second entry short because it is having kind of trouble breaking through the EMA? But I don't like that this is inside bar. There's no real room to the bottom, but I just marked it just to point this out to myself. This is a very interesting setup. And it would have made me nervous to see this next candle. It's another inside bar of this one. So now you're seeing prices are crushing. Both bears and bulls are getting strong and kind of like battling it out to see which side is going to push up. And here it's hard for me to know definitively if the bulls or the bears are going to win. So I don't know whether to go long or short. I can make a case for either. Flushes down, starts pushing down. I drew this down channel as a support first, and I didn't find this top resistance until later. It looks like it's just kind of gliding down. There's no clean entry. I see this same setup here. It's a new low here. It's technically, you technically have a count reset, but I also saw it as I was playing with it and I didn't have this confirmed trend line yet because it only touched twice, but I saw it in real time and it was just kind of something I had a hunch on, but I didn't initiate on the hunch because I don't trust my gut intuition just yet because I haven't had enough chart experience. But I saw this and I thought there is potentially another push down because if this is truly in this yellow channel, then this could act as resistance. There's two key entry points, the EMA and potentially this down channel. What would have maybe tipped it in my favor to actually take the trade is if this signal bar didn't close so neutral, but actually at the lows. Of course, it flashes down, but it just happened to flash down in this instance, and other cases it probably wouldn't have done that. So I had to make sure I don't read too much into this and start creating or fabricating a trade when it's not there. Prices come up, and this is actually where I take my first trade. So I think I'm in this trading down channel right here, this yellow one. It touches and confirms relatively well, depending if you had it a little bit tighter or not. It doesn't quite matter, but I kind of had it here, so it had the most touches here, here, almost hit it again, but every time it almost hit, in this case, it hit this top and came flushing back down. So when it almost hit it here and it came to the top, I was thinking there's potentially a new low, and actually this one's a little bit higher than this one. I saw a first entry short, pullback, potentially a second entry short. I like that there's a third touch confirmation or rejection. So when this one opened here and it actually flushed down, it stayed down here a little bit longer than I thought it would have. So I actually took it on the engulfing and I entered right here. And I didn't get out of the trade just yet because I'm still sitting right here on this trade. And I thought, okay, there's enough for a scalp. There's enough room to the bottom. There is some kind of support being respected here. Pushes down and I was able to quickly get out with my scalp. And in this case, I didn't try to go for a runner because it already pushed very hard. And on a larger time frame, you can see it's already one leg down, consolidation, a second leg down, and I'm getting close to the pre-market lows. So the downside, down bias might be playing out, so I have to be extra careful. So I was able to get out, pushes up here, and I'm watching if there's going to be another push down. Not necessarily to take a trade, but see how strong this yellow down channel is. It breaks out, so I'm watching. It kind of stays outside and it consolidates. So now I'm wondering how come it didn't come back down and test the lows of this yellow down channel. Comes back. And here, it almost tries to come back and make a new low, but it fails. The new high, first entry long, second entry long, this isn't a good signal bar. I drew this orange support here and actually had this a little bit tighter here. But it is more of a sideways consolidation and it starts breaking out. At an overshoot here, it comes back down, first entry long. I'm thinking there's going to be two legs down and another corresponding overshoot on this side. It doesn't do that though. It kind of starts curling back up. I saw this as a new high, so first entry long, second entry long, and there's a higher low here. I also saw this as a new low, first entry short, second entry short. When I saw this, I thought this was actually a possible trade right here. This higher low is confirming the second entry long. It's one leg down, push up twice, and then it looked like this could be just one leg up. And I was wondering if this truly was an overshoot, but I did like that EMA is starting to hold prices. So I'm thinking there might be a trade here. EMA is holding. Ideally, this would have closed even higher, but there was probably enough room for a scalp, and it looked like it would have worked. When it pushed up and it started coming back down, that's when I extended the top of this orange panel to about right here because it fit a little bit better and discounted this overshoot, which made it a little bit clearer of why it didn't, if this overshoot didn't come back down to this side and create a corresponding overshoot. Prices start moving up, like kind of adjust and tweak it. So I thought, okay, this could be a small overshoot or it could just still be obeying this as resistance, and prices might want to come back, test the EMA, or come back to the other side. Comes to the EMA, you do technically have a new high, first entry long, technically you have a second entry long, but here you're not thinking of going long because it's too close to the EMA, it's too close to the recent highs. Depending on how you saw it, if there's an overshoot here, then it could be two attempts and then another push back down. So I don't think there's a trade here. Looked like if you went long, you would have gotten trapped and then flushed down. So when you saw this, maybe you're thinking, okay, first entry long, second entry long, failure. Now that's valid because it did tick one tick above and they actually ticked one tick below. But I don't like that the EMA is kind of standing in its way. That makes me pause and get a little more cautious. If you took the trade, it looked like you'd be here, entered, and you'd have to wait till about this candle to exit. But I didn't think that was a worthwhile trade, especially since it's right at the EMA. Had this actually broke and closed below the EMA, then I think I would have entered probably a few ticks back just to reduce the risk. Prices continued chopping sideways. There's a fail breakout here. First entry long, pullback. I'm thinking there's a nice second entry long here. It's actually kind of like a hidden second entry long. There's a fail breakout, first entry long, pullback, it ticks below, pushes up, a potential second entry long here. Excuse me. But I thought it was a little bit more of an almost trade because if this is the top of the trading range, then I'm hitting right into resistance. I'm buying at the high, which seems risky because this seems like a well-established trading range. And with this overshoot, you're thinking one attempt up and then maybe another push leg down. So that's what I was thinking. So I was thinking the next candle could tick up a little bit, then flash down. But it doesn't, it pushes right back out. And I didn't see this previously, the markup that I had here. This is potentially a fail breakout and hidden second entry short. So it's a new low, first entry short, push up, back down, hidden second entry short. Seeing this at the time, I wasn't too sure of, you know, if this is a good enough trade because the EMA is coming into play potentially. Then prices continue moving. It looks like it's obeying and following into this orange up channel. I see a new high, first entry long pullback, potentially a second entry long. Second entry long here. It's a possible trade is bounce off the orange up channel, which is confirmed. It's a decent signal bar. And the signal bar, it just closed slightly below the EMA, but that did give me pause. It would have been a more of an aggressive trade, but it does have things going for it. If this had closed right at or above the EMA, then I think I would have jumped on this trade. Looks like it would have worked. It chops around, hits the top of this orange channel, was confirmed. It's just getting more and more reinforcement of this being valid. Pushes up on this yellow up channel. It breaks out, and I'm wondering if it's going to come pushing back down, but it dwells for quite a few ticks outside, comes back, hits the EMA, and EMA holds. Goes back, it touches the EMA a second time, but this isn't a very good signal bar, so technically you have a new high, first entry long, potentially a second entry long, but this is a terrible signal bar. Looks like if you entered, you would have been entered on this doji, which gives you not that information, not that good information or confidence because it shows that the tug of war is about even. Then here I do see a triple test. So definitely I wouldn't have entered here. This triple test I'm weary of because it looked like it was one push down, second push down, third push down. There is a lot of space here. This isn't a fully confirmed and developed trading range yet for me to feel there's a long trade here. So definitely just kind of sit on your hands and watch and wait. Pushes up, looks like EMA is holding. And then here I see a higher low. This higher low, I think, is a possible trade because it's broke out of this orange up channel, and it wasn't quite like a traditional overshoot where it came back down. So it's holding. EMA is providing support. There's a confirmed trading range here. It's a decent signal bar, and there might be enough momentum just for a quick scalp. So you would have entered on this candle, and likely this candle you would have gotten out. If not, for sure, one of these guys would have gotten you out. Prices then continue moving. I see a triple test here, but I'm not willing to take a short yet. Main reason is it's also counter trend. You have a very strong bullish push up. You're in a trading range. Trading range is the third touch, but it's kind of far from the other two. So you could see it as a double touch and not a triple test. It's a good signal bar to push back down, but it feels like a little iffy because EMA is coming into play. This orange up channel could act as support because it's starting to keep prices out. Pushes down, has a failed breakout, it's coming back in, and consolidates, whipsaws, and trades sideways. But here, I don't think the orange channel is really in play now, so it could be one leg up, consolidation, and another potential leg up. You have first entry long, technically have a second entry long, it's a terrible signal bar. Then prices start flashing up. This is This is where the 30-year bond auction announcement is occurring, and it looks like the market is treating it favorably. So it starts pushing up. I don't see any clean entries, no clean second entries. And again, this orange channel isn't in play anymore, and I saw this yellow up channel, another kind of sideways but bullish consolidation, another push up. This red up channel doesn't exist yet. There's a first entry long here. And it consolidates, moves sideways. EMA is starting to crush prices again. And we've seen this previously earlier in the day where it kind of did it right here. And you could argue maybe right here. So I'm thinking there's going to be another leg up, but you need a good setup in order to go long. Comes back down. Here, this is where I draw the red up channel. And I drew the corresponding side here is actually a little bit tighter because I thought this might have been an overshoot, but a sideways consolidation. I didn't quite like that as much, so I did end up dragging it up here. The failed breakout, but there's no clean setup. You could argue there's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, but other than a failed breakout of this trading range, you don't have this red up channel to give you even any additional confidence or another key entry point. Plus it closed below the EMA. This isn't a very good signal bar, but it did have an engulfing trigger bar, so you could use that as a justification to take the trade. I was waiting to see if there's going to create a higher low in the next candle with a decent close to make me feel confident to take the trade. Unfortunately, it doesn't. It just kind of runs away and it keeps pushing up. Now, this is a clear uptrend now. And on these clear uptrends, although this is at the highs and a triple test, if you can recognize that this is a clear uptrend, then you could probably take any decent signal bar. It is far from the EMA, so this would have been a little more aggressive. But here, you clearly have confirmation of this support, and this resistance up here looks like it's fitting pretty well. So here, unlike this one, which is right at the day's high, this one has a little bit of room to scalp out, less than a point though, but you clearly have kind of a bullish momentum. It might have been worth a trade because this is showing clearly that prices are pushing up. Breaks out of this yellow up channel, comes back down, starts consolidating. I saw a new high, first entry long pullback. You have a clear second entry long, and I thought this was a possible trade because it does fit and bounce off the red up channel a third time. EMA is starting to hold. Bias is clearly bullish at this point. You have enough room to the highs, and this is probably a decent trade to have taken. I wouldn't have been thinking about that when I saw this, and I wait for the trigger bar, which is this guy. Then I would have entered one tick or at the highs of this, which would have been about right here. Looks like I would have gotten filled, and it confirms this red up channel again. So I'd still be in the trade, and then this one likely would have, one of these two likely would have gotten me the scalp. Kind of hits, consolidates. Right now, this sideways consolidation isn't as dominant now as compared to the red support up channel. breaks through, and here I actually saw a new high, first entry long, pullback, potential, actually it's right here, first entry long, pullback, second entry long here, breaks out of this orange down channel, makes one attempt down, and it closed pretty bullish. So I thought this is a pretty good signal bar. I thought also, considering that in a trading range, there might be enough for a quick momentum scalp. I entered the trade right when it opened here, kind of flashed down, and then it came up, confirmed the break above. So I knew it was like, okay, higher low. I entered, I got filled, and then this next candle made me nervous because my stop is actually one tick below this guy. So this one almost came down, stopped me out, but it didn't. This next candle also almost came down, almost stopped me out, but didn't. So that made me nervous. I was starting to doubt my read of the setup because I could see it as one leg down, first attempt up, pull back, second attempt up, and on this next candle could pick up and flush back down and kind of create a reversal. So that made me think, okay, I need to just get out, break even. And so that's exactly what I did. I put my exit one tick above my original signal bar. And so when it opened here, it actually came down. It made me feel like I'm just going to lose on this trade because my trade exit stop was right here. My profit was, I think, let's see, it was at 52. So I would have gotten the profit, but I entered or I moved my stop or my exit really quickly after seeing this. I lost confidence in my read because, as I said, it was a break, one push up, potential second push up, and then continue a second leg down, kind of because there's an overshoot here. So, not wanting to lose anything, I did exit at pretty much break even or one tick above. So it was kind of a free trade. But it goes to show that if I stuck around, I would have gotten the trade that I originally wanted. However, this was a little more nerve-wracking, I guess, because it tried two times after I entered to break and get me. Then prices moved up, consolidates. It looks like it's kind of losing, the buyers are losing momentum because there's more space up here. Definitely here, it's just looked like it's just sideways. It comes back up, makes an attempt to come up. It does, it flashes back down and it flushes out. Now it's outside the trading range, but this is also the last 10 minutes of the day, which isn't the best place to be taking trades. It kind of moves into the close. Overall, there was quite a few setups, and a few of them I just discounted all as almost trades because I didn't like them for one reason or another. But I anticipate with more chart time, I'll get a better read of whether those almost trades are actually valid, maybe a little more aggressive, but worth taking. So hopefully that was helpful.